Hey everybody, this is Perch. This is one of those topics that I think would do better if we were in person together. So when we have that Perch Con, then definitely we'll. This will be one of those topics we bring up. But I see this comment get thrown out quite a bit, and it always irks me because it feels like not an honest argument, but there's an honest conversation to be had with it. And but I should also say one of my pet peeves, by the way, when somebody says we need to have a conversation, just talk. That's your conversation. You don't need to announce it. I who does that anyway? Um, should you take comics seriously? All right. Yes, I think you should. Comics are a business. The business creates wealth. The business creates entertainment. The business creates memories. The business creates characters that can live far beyond their creators. I think you should take comics seriously. There's a lot of people who their living is based on comics. There's a lot of people whose enjoyment, entertainment is based on comics, and I think we should take those things seriously. I think we should protect it. I don't think we should be casual about things just because it's not, brain surgery. Should you take brain surgery more seriously than comics? Well, sure, because you could kill somebody if you do bad brain surgery. With comics, if you do a bad comic, it's just kind of bad. You don't kill anyone. But it doesn't mean, there's levels to everything, and I think you should take comics seriously. The business of comics seriously. Now, the comics themselves are a little bit of an interesting thing because I do think part of the joy and the fun of comics is being able to take, not take it seriously at times, to be lighthearted with it, to make jokes about a comic or a character or a mistake. Mistakes happen, even if you're taking something very seriously and you're putting in an honest effort, mistakes happen. Stan Lee knew this. Marvel knew this with the whole no prize and everything else that they did there. The no prize was not created as a way to, try and jab at the fans or humiliate themselves because they made a mistake. They tried to make good comics. They made mistakes from time to time. They set up an interesting tongue-in-cheek structure that if you caught a mistake and you came up with a creative way that it wasn't a mistake, you got a no prize, which was literally no prize. But it was just fun. It was a way that it was kind of this shared unspoken agreement between publisher and reader that you could take this not seriously, and yet it wasn't like the whole thing was treated like trash. It was still a serious business, but you can be lighthearted with it at the same time. I think that's good. Um, you know, I think that there's a problem in comics in that not enough people take it seriously. I think that just all in all, I think that too many people have slipped into this idea that comics is non-essential, and then therefore who cares, or comics is legacy. It's printed on paper. Paper is old and archaic, and so who cares? I think that if you look in the history of entertainment projects, if you look at game companies, if you look at movie, people, no director who became famous went out and said, I know I'm making some throwaway piece of crap that is like like imagine Steven Spielberg going out and saying, I'm going to put a guy in a hat and he's going to have adventures. And but if this isn't serious, I'm not making real art here. I'm not going to get an Academy Award for it. So I mean, it's just kind of crap. I don't need to pay attention to it. I don't need to really, I mean, if I didn't put film in one day, screw it. I'll just not have that part in the film, and we'll say footage was missing, and it's fine. I mean, that when Indiana Jones was made, it was made seriously. The attempt was, we need to put out a product that will make money, and we want to be proud of it. I'm sure that the guys who created the Ernest Goes to Camp movies were also wanting to make a product they could be proud of. I think that's the difference between, you take it, you try and do the best job you can. You try and take the product seriously, even when you're making an absurd product. Were fans supposed to show up to Ernest Goes to Camp? I'm going to just pick on Ernest Goes to Camp for a while. Were people expected to show up and watch that movie and then not laugh or not make fun of it? Were they, is that the expectation simply because somebody worked on it? Of course not. It was entertainment. It was made to be laughed at. It was made to be a joke. It was made for people to have a lighthearted time with it. Star Trek. You've seen probably that famous clip from William Shatner, who's like, telling people, don't take it all so seriously. Obviously Star Trek was a major part in his life. He owes millions of dollars of his life to that franchise. And yet he also didn't expect fans to be so uptight with it. He was okay. Now I don't know who knows. I'm not lionizing William Shatner. I understand he was a dick in other areas. I don't know. He's also done some charity work. So whatever. Some in this camp, some in that camp. I have no idea. The point here is that when it comes to comics, it feels like we're in this very strange state where we're almost inverted from where we should be. You hear a lot of comments about, hey, you shouldn't focus on every mistake. Hey, if the comic is filled with errors, it's like, what are you pointing those out for? Don't take it so seriously. That's one of the common refrains when people, like myself, say, hey, there's this comic doesn't make a lot of sense. This concept doesn't really work. The comment you get back is, don't take it so seriously. Okay. So if you don't take the production value seriously, if you don't take the making seriously, then why is it that when it's turned around the other way and suddenly, we're posting panels that are ludicrous, people are saying, and we're laughing at it, it's like, hey, you shouldn't laugh at these comics. Comics are not meant to be mocked. Comics are not meant to be made fun of. You shouldn't make jokes about comics. I get these comments all the time. Uh, you know, I find that weird. I find that the exact opposite of a normal functioning system. I think that you should try and do the very best job you can and be proud of the work you're putting out and take that part very, very seriously. I think if you're a retailer, you should try and take the incoming, the business management, the customer relations, and the selling of comics seriously. I absolutely you should take that very seriously. Your customers are depending on you taking it seriously. If you had 100 pull box customers and you just randomly just didn't put the comics people ordered in their boxes, or when you rang people up, you would just, screw the math, let's just round up or add $50 in here, whatever happens to be, you would be called to cheat. People wouldn't shop at your store. They'd say you didn't take his business seriously, or she take her business seriously, whatever it happens to be. We're equal here. That's what people would say. You should take this seriously. You should take the construction of your comic. You should take the talking about your comic seriously. A lot of the best creators absolutely take their business seriously, as well they should, and good for them. But when it comes time to reading the comic, enjoyment comes in a lot of different formats. By the way, just to be clear, so nobody misinterprets what I'm saying, I'm not trying to give cover to people who relentlessly go and attack a creator for random reasons just because they like being an asshole on social media. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm saying if you pick up this week's copy of Daredevil and there's some goofy panel that was drawn weird and you decide to point this out to people going, look at this is ridiculous looking, you're not a villain. You're fine. If you pick up a copy of, I don't know, Hawkman, and the storyline falls flat, it's bad, it's weird, and you decide to complain about it, say this doesn't make sense to me. It's okay for you to do that. It's okay for you to take it. It's okay for you to take it as serious or not serious as you want. You're the customer. You get to decide. Don't be cruel about it. But we also can't set the line of cruelty so low that any complaint is cruel. When that Nubia book came out, there were a handful of creators who were like preemptively trying to shut down any critique of that book. And I'm sorry, there's a lot to critique about this book. When you're selling it as a YA novel and you've got the characters dropping F-bombs and you've got school shootings and you've got all this other stuff in this comic, I'm sorry, that's that there's going to be some critique. Tough. Trying to kind of pre-label it as anybody who makes fun of this is a hateful, rotten person, and they shouldn't be making fun of it. They should be taking this stuff seriously. When the book itself, at various times, clearly looks like it wasn't taken seriously, then we're backwards. We're exactly backwards of a healthy business or even a healthy community, and it's unnatural. I mean, here's the dark truth of it all: is everybody has a normal gravity, just like the planet has gravity. You have normal instincts, you have normal behavior that you try and center on. And when you try to push people to do the opposite of what is just natural human instinct and natural human behavior, things go sideways. And that is what we see in a lot of these books. We see people doing the opposite of what their natural instincts tell them to do, and the result is chaos. I think it's a funny message because on one hand I want to just say, hey, lighten up. Just read the comics, enjoy them or not, complain about them or not, and don't worry about it. If I complain about a comic, if I say the linear verse is a stupid concept, then don't, that's my opinion. You can just ignore it. Just leave it alone. It doesn't need, more or less than that. If you hear me harping on the linear verse every day for the next 4 months, then you should probably correctly say I sound like an obsessive weirdo. You should do that. Please don't do that. But you should do that. At the same time, I'm not good with the idea of don't take it all so seriously when we're also talking about a business. I think this whole concept is why I said at the very beginning it'd be easier to explain in person if we were in the same place, is because it sounds very complicated. Wait a minute, how can we take something too seriously and then not take it seriously at the same time? This makes no sense. You're talking crazy talk. I don't think it's that hard. I think you take your business seriously. I think you take your enjoyment not seriously. I don't know. I'm tongue tied. I can't even try and dissect what I'm trying to say here. But hopefully everybody got it. I think that's my opinion in all this. I think that we need to stop telling people. We need to just stop trying to manage how people want to consume their entertainment. Just let them consume it however they want, and spend your money how you want, do or don't, and call it a day. And if you're in the business of trying to create content that you want people to buy or consume, please take it seriously. I want you to succeed. I want the creators of Nubia to succeed. I want the Linearverse. I want all these things to succeed. I really do. But you, as the creator, the content publisher, the person who's trying to put this stuff out in the world, you do need to take what you're trying to put out in the world seriously. Right? I'm suddenly falling into the trap of water is wet. And if you go into it, you will get wet. So if you want to go into the water and you don't want to get your nice clothes wet, don't go into the water. The more you know. I don't know. I'm taking it too seriously, right? Yeah. Leave a comment below, like and subscribe. Contact information is in the description of the video, and thanks for listening.